You know how you work at least you got like a few days off to have your, regroup and all that stuff. For the first 2 to 5 years, if you look the other way just because you just made $1 million in a month and you start getting very cocky or arrogant, boom, you're wiped out. That's all it takes. It's a subtle look away to get knocked out. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And the answer has to be very crystal clear. It's not just because don't let the lifestyle fool you. I mean, it takes a lot of work. And you have to ask yourself the question, are you really willing to go through it? If yes, Chris, here's the one thing I do advise to apply to everybody. I think everybody ought to run a part-time business. Affiliate marketing, great. Sell products on the side, garage, whatever it is, get your real estate license, sell real estate on the side, get an insurance license, sell insurance on the side, and maintain your job. And put 10 or 15 hours into it. I think everybody ought to do it and can do it. Everybody. So, but the word of entrepreneur is multidimensional. At what level do you want to go? Do you want to go building a business doing 50 grand a year? Great. Go do it. Everybody ought to do it. Do you want to build a business doing $1 million a year? Well, maybe not everybody can. You can build $1 million a year business. 10 million is the interesting number because very few get to the 10 million. 1 of 5, a lot of people get stuck to 1 of 5. 10 is, difficult. Then from 10, do you want to do $100 million? Do you want to get to $1 billion? I mean, the game changes at that point, right? But the more clear you are on your outcome of everything you do in life, kids, wife, business, career, friendship, spiritual, exercise, the more clear those outcomes are, the more fluid the action is going to be taken because you know why you're doing it. And so, yes, I think today social media fools the reality of being an entrepreneur. A lot of these books, self-help books that you read and say, oh, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. They don't touch on the ugly part of running the business. Now, set the ugly part aside. The one part that outweighs being willing to tolerate all this pain is the fact that choices matters to you. If you're driven by choices, if you're driven by control, if you're driven by, being able to choose the kind of a life you want to live, that reward is so much higher than the pain you're going to have to put up, that you're willing to put up with the pain because you want this. Because what's the flip side? Here's the flip side. My 3 kids go to the same private school together. It's very expensive. Okay. You live in a decent community. You have a house with elevators and privacy. You can have security. You can have nicer insurance, nicer protection, better advisors, better counselors, better money managers, better attorneys, better CPAs, better protection, all of that stuff. The choices, better places to go, people that you can associate with that are at your same level, if not higher than you, more things that you can have as choice. I'm not talking necessarily material things, choices. So if the choices and the controls that big of a motivation for you, you can put up. But if the pain's too much for you and this doesn't really matter, you're just without revenue. Think about how many people started a podcast and they had potential but they stopped. Think about it. Think about how much work it takes to run a podcast. Okay? You have a wife, you have a kid, you have a business, you have all these other things. Think about the effort it takes. Think about the discipline. Think about the level of consistency. To find the questions, to research, to content, to all this stuff takes a lot of effort, right? But you're doing it. It's very obvious you're enjoying it and it matters. And that's why you're effective. You see some people that it doesn't matter to them, they're a winner. So that's the differentiator between an amateur and a pro. A pro's trying to figure out a way to be prolific because it matters to them. Because if it does, the world better get out of your way. So you're going to get what you want at whatever level you want.
There's no joy without pain. There's no sunshine without rain. You need up and down. This is how the world works.
As a man, you must build yourself. And I agree that society puts huge pressure on men, and it's time for men to perform. As a man, you either perform or you don't. There's no safety net. The men who say, I can't feel like it, cannot compete with the men who do not say that. And it is player versus player.